What's up, everybody, and welcome to a brand new episode of the Game of the Week show. I'm Matt, that's Dan, and that is Ash.
Hello.
Good evening. Happy No Man's Sky week. Are we enjoying it so far? Just very quickly. Enjoying it so far?
Yeah, it's I got a little of annoying bit today with space combat, which kind of brought it down a little bit.
We'll get into that.
It's fine.
A little bit more detail later on, so you do have to stay till we get to the game releases and talk about more detail. But this is our weekly show where we get together every Monday to discuss the latest and greatest news stories from within the video game industry. We'll then also talk about the game releases for that week and then each pick our favourite game of the week. So if you're a fan of video game news, let's plays, reviews, conversations and more, you can find out everything you do on our website, thegamerinitiative.com. Kicking off today's news, possibly the biggest story of the week, I think the biggest story of the week, PlayStation 4 Neo. We know it's a thing.
Yep.
It was announced just before E3.
Yeah.
We don't know exactly any more details about it at the moment. We've heard obviously rumours and speculation that it's going to be less powerful than Scorpio, might be out this year. Who knows exactly what it's going to be. But Sony has actually sent out invites for a PlayStation event to be held on September 7th at their new PlayStation Theatre in New York. So I think it would be a very, very risky betting man to bet against this being anything other than a PlayStation Neo announcement details. It's obviously, we initially talked about TGS. This comes a week before TGS. I think it is probably something that is worthy of its own event.
Mm-hmm. I would agree. Yes, it is. Yeah, they can really give you a full sort of overview of everything that they are doing with it. All we've had so far is just a few threads here and there. So to get a full spec on what we can expect, maybe a release date would be great.
Yeah, there's supposedly, as rumours swirl, that it is going to get an upgrade over the original intended plans in order to make sure it competes with Project Scorpio better. And so on. And also I saw something else saying that the reason they've picked this date is so that it comes out a week ahead of what they think will be Nintendo's official announcement over the NX.
At TGS, so they can get in there before everyone's talking about the NX. That makes sense. It'll be interesting to see, because we talked about back at E3, remember where they started with Days Gone and then ended with Days Gone, and it felt like that was kind of like a weird thing that maybe wasn't supposed to be at the end. And everyone then talked about, it was going to be the new Red Dead, but then they cut it because of the horrible events that took place in Orlando.
Yes.
But maybe more realistically, initially it was going to be the PlayStation Neo. They then heard how powerful this Scorpio was going to be, so they drew it back out and just gave themselves a couple more months just to work out how much more powerful can they make this device without going completely back to the drawing board.
How many extra teraflops can we cram in?
Those teraflops.
So, two things then. Mm-hmm. Number one, do we think it will now match the power of the Scorpio, or will it kind of still be underpowered? Because obviously at the moment, PS4 is more powerful than Xbox One, and that's kind of a big advantage they've had.
Yeah.
And number two, will it come this year?
Sorry, I can just hear the mining going off.
Oh, I thought you were sniggering at number two because you're a childish little boy.
No.
I think it kind of has to be on par with the Scorpio.
Yeah.
I don't think it can be anything less at this stage, given that they've had a bit of extra time as well. There aren't really any excuses not to.
They are in front in this generation. There's no reason for them to suddenly give up ground willingly.
But it's all about costing as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
They might do the thing of it's not quite as powerful, but it's $100 cheaper. And at the start of the console, the PS4 ended up being more powerful as well, but the PS4 was cheaper than the Xbox One. And I think that made a huge difference when people were the early adopters.
But if cost is the issue, then surely people are just going to buy a PS4.
Maybe. I don't know, it depends who your target audience is for these consoles.
If having power isn't the issue, because people that want the extra power don't mind paying the money for it. If people that just want the system that are looking at a budget will probably be happy to...
Sell on PS4, and that's how I think they're going to sell it, obviously.
Because the games are coming out for it anyway.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. This year?
It's just a premium console to the existing, that's all
it is. Yes, that's true. This year? Release?
I
don't think so.
If it's been intended to come out to make PlayStation VR better, and VR is still coming in October,
You keep holding on to that.
No.
Dan.
But what I'm saying is, if it's still coming in October and there isn't something that we haven't heard of
True.
that pushes it,
Yeah.
then it would make sense for them to try and get this console out as close to VR's release as possible.
It would, I agree, but
Because if you have an extended period of VR's not running well,
Oh, I'm sure VR.
Then-
I'm sure. Yeah. There's no way that they'd be releasing PlayStation VR without it not running well, or at least adequately with the PS4.
oh no, I know that.
So, there's obviously this additional power box that's coming with the VR headset, which is maybe what was necessary to kind of compensate for the PS4's shortcoming of power. And maybe that's something that will be with the Neo. Maybe you won't need the extra power unit because
Maybe.
all the processing will be done in the console. Who knows? I think it would make sense to be this year, but I think now they've maybe realised, one, they don't need to release it this year. They don't need to rush it because, like you said, they're already out in front.
Yeah.
Scorpio's not coming for another year, so I don't expect to see this till next year now.
yeah,
But that might be against their original plan, but
Yeah.
we'll never know what their original plan was. Moving on, and something else that might be coming now later than we all hoped for, or some more than others. Final Fantasy 15. Multiple reports are now saying that the game is no longer going to be coming on September 30th as originally announced. In fact, it will be coming on November 29th. So initially this report came out from some leaks of GameStop signage, so for kind of displays they were going to have in store, and they'd been sent this new signage which had a new date of it, and they were basically saying that they weren't allowed to put them up in stores until August 15th, which is today, the time the video is posting. So it's almost certain this is going to be confirmed by the time you watch this video, but as of recording it hasn't been confirmed yet. But Kotaku have said that they've spoken to other sources outside of the GameStop signage stuff and has confirmed in fact that this will be now a November 29th release. Disappointed?
I'm not fussed. I'm just being honest. I'm not a Final Fantasy fan. I never have been. I don't think I ever will be, but never say never. But up until now, it's just passed me by, and
Yeah, I mean, I'm. This is one where I've never, like you, been into Final Fantasy really. I've probably played the grand total of maybe 8 hours of Final Fantasy games, which, considering the size of them, is may as well have not bothered.
Yeah.
But it's just never been for me. But I'm intrigued to give this game a shot, at least, because it just seems the combat's got a little bit more actiony. If that's not really a great word, but it's more action orientated. It's faster paced. It's always been originally or traditionally the turn-based stuff that really puts me off. I've got no interest in turn-based.
Stand there, do the weird sort of wobble back and forth as they do because they don't stand still.
Yeah, I've had no interest in turn-based games, which is why it's amazing that I actually liked South Park. But I think that was just because the combat.
Pokemon.
Well, yeah, and Pokemon, but I think I would like Pokemon as a kid because it was maybe just more relatable and I didn't really think about the turn-based stuff. But when I play Pokemon now, it does annoy me more, the turn-based stuff, because it's just like... I know there's strategy involved, but if you're underpowered, then it's basically just a case of, well, you're going to lose, aren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How about you, Dan? Disappointed? Do you care about this game? Are you excited?
I was never going to pick it up and play it, to be honest. Out of the three of us, I've played the most Final Fantasy game, and I didn't even complete that one.
Okay.
But it's just something I wasn't going to pick up and put hours into because I know what the games are like.
Yeah. We've talked about this a million times, though. For anyone out there that is obviously a bigger fan of Final Fantasy than the three of us, we know it's a huge franchise. We know a lot of people are really excited for this game, but the delay is not the end of the world. It's 2 months. It's not that big a deal. The game will be better for it nowadays. It's not the case where you only got one game to look forward to, and if it's delayed, that means you've got nothing to do for 2 months.
Yeah.
There's now games upon games, especially this time of year.
Yeah.
There's going to be plenty of games for you to play in October. Don't you worry.
Yes.
And even early November, for that's matter.
Yeah.
I think the worrying thing for them is that when they were coming out in September, that was kind of like at the forefront of all the big releases. Now this is at the back end, and I'm sure the fans of the game will still pick it up, but maybe people that maybe were more on the fence, maybe people like me, will go, by the time it gets to November, it's like, well, I've already got Watch Dogs, Mafia, Call of Duty, Battlefield, whatever you were looking forward to. I don't really need another game now. Whereas
Because
September,
I still have a job and have to fit that in.
Yeah, September is end of the summer, and obviously the summer, as we'll see later on, we don't have many games released
No.
on a weekly basis.
so it might affect them in that, but at the end of the day, it's more important to release a game that's working rather than
Yeah, 'cause
broken,
that
as we've seen.
that can do long-term damage.
Yeah. So Dan, you touched on Nintendo and potentially them releasing or announcing the NX in the very near future. The latest reports suggest that they really might as well just get out there and say it now, because there's just leaks coming left, right and centre.
Yeah.
We had a huge conversation a couple of weeks ago about the fact that it could be a handheld with detachable controllers. We won't go into huge details of our thoughts again here, because it will just be repetition, but there is another report that kind of strengthens the alleged rumours about the console, and this is a user from NeoGAF has discovered that there were some patents filed with the US Patent Office back in January this year, and you'll see from the images on the screen that basically it showcases what they call an accessory that can be attached to the outside of an information processing device, so basically a console or handheld. It says that it can have buttons, rotating dials or other inputs, triggers, thumbsticks, whatever. This does seem to confirm what was originally reported. Obviously, we should say patents don't always mean it's a dead cert. This is, you can't remember all those weird patents we saw for. I think it was it for the PS4, the VR headset and like the weird controllers and stuff.
Yeah.
We haven't seen those yet. They might come one day, but.
What's that? And like when the DualShock controller was being redone and so on, we saw different designs for
loads
that.
of different designs.
Yeah.
I mean, people they have an idea, because I'd be very surprised if a console's ever gone through development and what we've got on the shelf was the one and only version of the console and the controller that they've ever designed. And if they have, it's probably a really bad console in the show, so it's like...
Exactly.
I
They
did
have
this
one-
once,
one-
I'm not doing it again.
Yeah.
teams
First
of,
attempt, that'll do.
Teams of people sat around a table, brainstorming, and
It's basically like the same... These are the people who, when they become parents, they name their kid Aaron, because it's first on the list, and they're like, yeah, that'll do.
Yeah.
Sorry for anyone that's called Aaron, but your parents didn't give a shit about your name. Because, well, maybe that's a bit harsh. They were lazy. It's the first name. If you look at male names,
Yeah.
it's first. Are you upset because you're an Ashley and therefore it's also in the A's and at the beginning of the alphabet?
No, it's fine. It's
Sorry.
a way. It's quite a way down.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, your parents went with a gender-neutral name as well.
They did.
Didn't even have to come up with two names.
Yeah. So,
What were we talking about?
I don't know. Anyway, yeah.
Nintendo.
A little bit off track.
So yeah, we just very quickly for people that didn't watch the last video, we think this is more power to Nintendo if that's the route they want to go down.
Yeah, we've said this time and time again. We really want Nintendo to get back into the frame and the battle, if you like, sort of console wars. And it would be nice if they could come out with something that does rival what Microsoft and Sony are doing. Albeit, okay, it's on the handheld. Okay, you've got the Vita. You do now have the Windows the sort of Microsoft mobile gaming.
Play anywhere.
Play anywhere.
Yeah. And your Vita, don't forget, every PS4 game is a Vita game thanks to Remote Play.
Exactly.
Says the people who have not yet experienced how Remote Play actually works. Maybe it works great in Japan where everyone has like 200 meg download and upload speeds.
Mine works fine.
Nah. All the time. No lag, no latency.
Maybe.
I admit it works really well when I'm in the same room as my PS4. It's like, well, this is great, but if I'm in the lounge, I'm just going to play my PS4.
Well, exactly.
But I then take it upstairs, and this might surprise you, but I don't like live in a mansion or anything. I live in quite a small flat. But then the latency becomes almost unplayable on certain games.
Yeah, I agree.
And I have an 80 quid router. It's not like a cheap budget one, so I'd like to think that it can stretch
one floor.
One floor.
Yeah, exactly.
So, and then trying to play it when you're on another Wi-Fi somewhere else around the world, just forget about it. But
yeah, it's exciting. I think Nintendo could possibly redeem themselves with this. Hopefully, if they get it right.
I just like that they're going with something different. I think whilst I think we talked about this before, Dan, it would be great to have just another powerhouse. They're so far behind now. They need to just try something different, but not too extreme. Still be traditional to the hardcore gaming audience, because they've already proved that gimmicks don't last forever.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the drop off by Wii to Wii U in terms of the gimmick as such.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They can't afford for that to happen again.
No, I mean, I can only imagine is what they've done is they've looked and gone, right, what has Nintendo's strength always been? You know, okay, yes, the SNES and NES were hugely popular, N64 was okay, GameCube was, but as soon as Xbox came to the fray, they've basically fallen away. That's just the way it's been. I think the third-party things affect it a lot, but they've always been good at handhelds. They've always owned the handheld market. Now, if they can tie that in somewhere, then great. But we shall see. Hopefully we'll see it at TGS, like Dan's sources believe to be the case. So, and if it is, obviously we'll be sure to bring you all the information on it. Gran Turismo is a franchise that has been hugely successful over the years, all the way back in the day to the original Gran Turismo on the PlayStation, through to Gran Turismo 6 on the PS3, and even now GT Sport coming to PS4 early on next year. Polyphony, the developer behind the studio, has updated their sales figures of the franchise, which I think is cool. Not many developers give like franchise statistic sales.
Yeah.
You always get these especially Microsoft are the worst for it. They're like, it's the best selling Xbox One exclusive game in the month of June. It's like, okay.
But
how
did
many...
with the Y.
Yeah.
It was when they said they didn't want to release how many... They said all of their launch lineup last year sold at least 1 million units. So it's like, okay, so that means Rise of the Tomb Raider only sold 1 million units, but what about all the others?
Yeah.
It's like, we don't know how much... And even with the Halo 5, they said that all Halo 5 revenue was 400 million, and that included... Because they did like limited editions and everything like that, and bundle consoles. It's like, just tell us how many copies of the game you sold.
And mugs and stuff like that.
Yeah, they don't actually say the copies, do they?
No.
Which is...
So, Gran Turismo has sold 77 million units throughout its entire franchise, which is very, very impressive. Now, it's not GTA numbers, because GTA 5 alone has sold 69 million copies, but, you know, it's in terms of racing, this is by far and away the most successful franchise ever. Yeah. GT6, which was the last full release from Gran Turismo, has sold now over 5 million units. And bear in mind, this is a game that came out on the PS3 after the PS4 released, so that's pretty darn good.
That is pretty
good. Like, a game would love to reach 5 million sales, even on a live existing console.
Yes.
Their most successful of all time was Gran Turismo 3 A-Spec, which did either of you guys have?
No.
That was an awesome game.
I don't think so.
I love this game. So many hours. I think I've said the story on here before, but I really wanted a Dodge Viper, and I was trying to work out the quickest way to get to the 90,000 credits, and I think I worked out was to just do the speedway, because it was 2 laps, and they were like 40 seconds each. So I just did that like 90 times in order to get the car. And then I boosted, because I was like a stupid kid, I boosted it up to like 1,000 brake horsepower, because I thought it was all about power. And then...
You made that car uncontrollable, didn't you?
Yeah, well basically, I like the look of the car, but I didn't really know much about the technicals of cars, and the Dodge is not renowned for having the best handling. So, yeah, 1,000 brake horsepower car with no handling. Suffice to say, after about 70 hours of getting the car I wanted, I gave up and never played again. 15 million units it sold anyway.
Yeah, you know, it is a great franchise, and I think it will continue to be, you know, a big title every year.
No, I mean they do. It's interesting that I think the best 2 racing franchises are Forza and Gran Turismo, and they're both first-party exclusive games for the respective consoles. I'd love to see how they would do if they went like head-to-head on the same console.
Yeah.
Because Gran Turismo is definitely very popular in Europe and Japan, and I think Forza dominates.
We'll have to do a little review of the 2 new games.
Yeah.
Comparison.
Gran Turismo and VR though, that could be the seller.
Oh yeah.
So, we shall see, but no doubt, possibly by, probably not by Gran Turismo Sport, but there'll be, at some point this franchise will reach 100 million, which is, I'm sure, more than they could have ever dreamed of when they started this franchise 20 years ago. Right, let's go through a quick wrap-up of new game release announcements this week before getting into the latest games. So Dead Rising, the remasters which were announced... Were they announced at E3 or just after E3? I think it was just after
Just
E3.
after, I think.
So these are coming anyway on September 13th. You'll be able to get the bundle of Dead Rising 1, Dead Rising 2, and Dead Rising 2 off the record. That'll be a full price game, or equivalent of, or you can buy each of them separately for about £16. So no real saving, but if you want all three, then that's good. They are digital only though, Ash, I'm afraid to say.
Oh, well.
Because it's the first time they're coming to PlayStation, so obviously PlayStation gamers can hopefully be very excited to play these games. You're going to pick these up, Dan? I mean, it's not like there's not enough zombie games to play, so maybe.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure this is the first zombie game to ever release on PlayStation consoles, because I don't think I've seen any before.
Are you sure?
I'm pretty sure. I'm sure people out there will let me know if I'm wrong, but I'm almost certainly not wrong. It's such a
niche market.
It is such a niche market. It's crazy. Persona 5 is has now got a release date in Europe. Originally, we had the Japanese release, which was September 2016, and then in the US they gave us Valentine's Day next year, and Europe has now been confirmed to be the same, Valentine's Day next year. So, what better way to spend with your loved one than playing Persona 5?
Definitely.
This is I know this has a hardcore following in the JRPG genre. People say that Persona is becoming the new Final Fantasy. It has already overtaken it in terms of quality of story. So I'm sure, I'm not going to even ask you guys, because I'm pretty sure everyone's excitement for Persona on this sofa is even less than Final Fantasy. But we still respect it.
Well, I always respect it, absolutely. I think, I mean, it's great that you've got games as big as Final Fantasy that are being rivaled by another game. As big as they've been and as long-standing as they've been, and you've still got rivals to that game is phenomenal.
Here's one that we can all get behind. The Witcher 3 Complete Edition is coming on August 30th. So, in case you didn't think that The Witcher 3 offered you enough value when it came out a couple of years ago, with its 200 plus hours of game.
200 plus hours, yeah.
Well, this one will come with all the included DLC, so not just all the free content that you're able to download, skins, the odd mission here and there. It comes with the big 2 DLCs, which is Wine and Blood and the Heart of Stone, is it?
Heart of Stone and Blood and Wine.
Yeah. So that's another 40 hours each on those two, probably.
30 on the first one, 40 to 50, I think, on the second.
Did you complete both?
I have not completed Blood and Wine yet.
Okay.
Slacking down.
Yeah.
It's about a 400-hour game. You haven't finished it yet. Unbelievable.
Only have completionists on the sofa, I'm afraid.
Yeah.
Right, I'll leave. I'll leave after the show.
I don't worry, you're still well ahead of me. So there we go.
And me.
So you now can have potentially 300 to 400 hours of gameplay, and to make this even better, it's not even going to be a full price game. It's going to come in at £40 rather than the normal £50.
I think that's good.
So
it's very good.
In terms of value for money, you're not going to. In fact, just go and buy this on August 30th, and you won't need another game for the rest of the year.
You know how they normally say that if you get 8 hours worth of content for like £1 or $1, then you're doing well in terms of the game you're buying. Because I think it's about 400 hours. And 40 quid.
I don't have this because
no, but it's a saying that
a pound an hour is basically a good thing to say. And it's like so you're basically getting 10 hours for every pound you spend.
Yeah,
it's not bad.
Not bad at all.
And even sooner than The Witcher 3 will be Deus Ex Go, which is launching on August 13th, which is...
This is like Pokemon Go, yeah?
No.
More like Hitman Go.
More like Hitman Go or Lara Croft Go. It's kind of a turn-based strategy game that's coming to iOS and Android. They're really fun games, really good games, both Hitman and Lara Croft. And excited to play this again on my phone. Perfect game for when you're on the toilet and just want something to do. No word yet on... If anyone says that they've never played their phone on a toilet, they're a liar.
No, we just don't talk about that sort of thing.
We don't. Except I've now put it on the internet. That's fine. There's no word yet on the PS4 or the Vita versions, which Hitman did come, but I don't think Lara Croft Go.
I don't think it did.
No, I don't think it did either.
Who knows whether or not we'll see this, but August 13th, this week, pick it up. probably be a couple of £. They're really good value and actually really fun games. And now we can move on to this week's game releases, and let's kick off with the big game of the week, literally, as well as in terms of comparison to the rest of the games.
It's vast.
No Man's Sky, PS4, PC, Ash, go.
Amazing.
Man, a few words. Dan?
I have mixed feelings.
Okay.
I think it's a really good looking game. I'm not going to doubt that at all.
Mm-hmm.
For me, unless things change, and hopefully it will as more and more of the game mechanics open up, I feel it's going to become very repetitive very quickly.
Yeah.
Because of it, but that's because of where I am at this moment in time. And like I said, if things open up to me, fine. But it's like, if all I'm having to do is mine this, build this, mine, and like literally that's all I can do constantly without being able to like upgrade my ship because it costs so much to be able to do that. It's like, it's going to be a grind to a point, and then hopefully that improves things.
I agree with that somewhat. Yeah, I think the grind part initially I can agree with, because it can be a little bit, a bit difficult. I think trying to get the resources you need, the elements you need to be able to craft and everything. But I'm hopeful. I think that after that, once you can, really explore and travel, I mean, I'm really excited just to get out there and just find stuff.
I think it depends what you want out of a game, personally. I mean, I see exactly what you're saying. It's like, okay, I'm still trying to work out exactly the point of the game. But there's these things where, so I found, in the trading system, basically, whenever you go to all of these centres, you can trade resources, buy, sell, stuff like that. So I found there's some things that are actual physical resources that you use to build things, and then there are things that I can't remember what they call them, but it's basically just loot. It's there for, I can't remember what they call it, random like artifacts. So I found this particular artifact that was tied to a certain species, which was in a certain star system. And when I went to one of those traders in the space station, like not the hole in the wall if you've played it, but actually you can go to actual other ships and there's NPCs. This guy, because he was one of the type of species that the thing was, it was like a dagger. The sale value for him was like 104% more than the galactic average.
Yeah.
So like you can just go around getting resources from certain planets and then travelling to the area in the world where they sell, and then just basically, or you don't even need to do that. You could even go to some places where someone sells one resource cheap and then go back across the system and sell it to somewhere who wants to buy it for a high price. It kind of just depends. I mean, that to me would be a bit boring. But if that's what you want to do, if you just want to fly and make money, then I'm sure there are people out there that will want to do that.
Yeah.
The thing is, what I like is that even if you haven't got your hyperdrive set up, and even if you want to travel through space, there are things there which, even your journey can be, entertaining. You've got, you can collect elements from destroying rocks. You can get into the fights as well.
I wouldn't call this fun, but
well, okay. But I'm really excited to really. I mean, I've probably only put, I don't know, half a dozen hours into it, maybe 6 or 7 hours. Visited a few different planets, been to a space station, visited a couple of aliens. The normal sort of
normal things you do in everyday life.
Yeah, the normal. Yeah. I was going to say the normal sort of start of this game that you would expect. But yeah, I'm excited for where
my
it's going
first visit to a space station, I bounced straight off it.
Yeah, you have to go in through the door. You can't just drive it.
No, but they didn't even show there was a door. You know how it marks once you've got to a certain point. It marks the entrance. I think because it was a tutorial thing, it didn't mark that. So it's like I flew around a little bit of it, and it's like I can't actually see any way into this at this point. So it's like I went off and continued this tutorial, and then it's like go to the space station. It's like I just rammed into that.
I think we have to give credit, to this game for what it's achieved. I think it's
a technical marvel.
It is,
that's for sure.
It is. It's nothing else we've seen before.
I've seen lots of reviews critiquing that it's a huge but empty world. It's like, well, how dense did you expect the world to be? Like when it's that big. I mean,
it's the universe. Isn't it?
It's the universe, and
it's
even if you look at, even if you take planet Earth for an example. 3/4 of it is covered by water. So therefore, you know, when you're a land traveller in a spaceship, therefore 75. If you're visiting planet Earth in the game, 75% of it would be boring and empty because it's the ocean, and that's unfortunately kind of something I suppose you have to get over. And my biggest issue right now is, one, my ship is rubbish. And to buy ships is ridiculously expensive. The things I've read online is that you shouldn't do it, and you shouldn't even upgrade your starting ship because it's so poor. There's no point putting resources into that. Wait until you find a good ship somewhere and upgrade your ship.
Yeah.
And then also my exosuit, it's like, I just find them every like half an hour. It's like, your inventory is full, your inventory is full, because I have no slots for anything.
That's probably the biggest annoyance out of it at the moment. Is just like, I'm a collectionist. I don't know about you, but I want to collect everything. Yeah.
And I can't.
You won't on this game.
No, it's not quite that bad, but it's the same thing. It's like, all these technology things, it's like, I'd be happy if there's just a blueprint out there where it's like, storage space.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, you craft that, it uses up one of your slots, but then you open up like an additional 4.
Yeah.
Or something like that. You know, you tag on an extra pod onto the side of your ship.
I think stuff like this is you know, we're definitely going to experience a lot more in the game. Clearly, I think it does have a lot more to offer.
Well, yeah, did they not talk about being able to build your own ships and also build your own kind of like houses and stuff like that, or like stations?
Yeah, I think
it's something that's going to be coming in a future update, because that would make more sense. It's like, okay, yeah, I understand that my ship is only so big. I understand that I can only carry so much on my person. Like, I completely accept that. I almost bemoan the games like, I don't take it for realism, but like GTA, where like you have 7 weapons on your person even though you can't see any of them. It's like, well, okay, let me just take my rocket launcher out of my back pocket for a second. I understand.
Oh no, not that rocket launcher. I meant the other one.
Yeah, not a flamethrower or a grenade launcher.
Grenade launcher.
But yeah,
I know, fireworks.
Which pocket was that?
But it would be nice if I could just have somewhere to store my resources, like at the space station. Like, why can't I not have like a locker or something? You know what I mean? You know what I mean, though? Like,
you have learned the Gek word for rent locker.
Maybe that's it. Maybe I need to learn their language.
Yeah, that's true. You probably do.
But yeah, that's my only critique so far, is that I want to hold a lot of these resources, and I just don't have the capacity for it right now because I'm not holding much of what I don't need. Like, I'm keeping all the key resources of the stuff I need to build. You know, like restore my ship, restore my health, restore my exosuit, build my hyper or fuel cells for my hyperdrive.
But the thing is, you don't know what you're going to need either.
Well,
that's the thing.
That's what I mean. Like, those are just the core things. The only things I've got on top that I don't really need right now is gold and aluminium. And it's like, well, gold's going to be important at some point, surely.
But yeah, that's the thing. You know, the moment you sell it, just like free up space, you're going to find something you want. It's like, you need gold. Just 50 of it. It's like, I had 57.
What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to name planets of like planets that have got maybe resources with a lot of them. So like, there was one planet I went to and there was just plutonium everywhere. So I've just called it Plutonium Central.
Yeah.
So that's pretty good. So you know where to go when you need to get some. Yeah, that's not a bad idea actually.
But the downside of it is, if you leave the system, you then use up resources to get back to get your plutonium.
Yeah. But I'm hopeful that in each star system there'll be at least one planet that's plutonium heavy.
You would think,
because that's what you need. Your plutonium. You need your
titanium.
Fermium 9.
Yeah.
And there's something else that you need quite often for your ship. There's a key.
Iridium? No.
Iron. You need oxides to replenish your ship shields.
Yeah.
But anyway,
But yeah, we could talk about this game for a lot longer. But first impressions, I think, it's not a perfect game, but it's a fun game. It's one that you could play as much or as little as you want, and I'm enjoying it so far.
I still stick by my first. I think it's amazing. I think it's a very, very clever game, and I think it's one that you can just have as much or as little fun as you want. You can do as much or as little as you want, and explore as vast as you want to.
I tried to have fun and be a space pirate, and that went horribly wrong.
It would be nice if we could encounter more people as well. And like, if people attack my ships, can I attack their ships and steal their stuff?
You can.
I'm gonna try that next time. I'm not a fan of being this good Samaritan. Although, like, there's whenever you try to take resources or mine stuff, there's bloody drones that come over.
Oh yeah,
and start shooting at you.
They're hard to shoot as well.
If you just walk away,
Oh yeah, I know.
And then they don't care because your tool disappears and they just don't.
You'll find soon, I think, where you are, because you're just shy of a hyperdrive. You have to steal a blueprint in order to make what we're talking about. We're talking about before.
Warp cell?
No, the thing you need for the warp cell.
Antimatter.
Antimatter.
And it's in a station, isn't it? And you have to break in.
Yeah.
Trying to break into that, you don't just get mini drones. You get actual on the ground drone things coming at you as well. Or at least I did.
I didn't.
Oh, but yeah, have fun with that.
I'll have fun with that.
There are a few other games this week that we should mention just before we head on out here.
Yeah.
Because you never know, that might not even be our game in a week. It could be Bears Can't Drift on the PS4. Which, to be fair, does actually look like a lot of fun.
It does look like a lot of fun, yeah.
It is. Yeah, it's a spiritual successor to Crash Team Racing, a clone of Mario Kart, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
It's a kart racer.
It's a kart racer. Yeah. And it looks fun. It does look fun. Couch co-op, local co-op, that's always a good thing in a game.
Yeah.
And is also essential for a kart racer. So we don't have many of these on the new generation, so maybe one to check out and pick up.
That is a very good point you make. We don't have many of these on this current generation, and I think it's one of those things that I still love.
We then have Brutal on the PS4, which is it looks like a dungeon crawler, roguelike kind of. It's randomly generated, but also looks like you can actually create your own dungeons. Mm-hmm. But you said, Dan, looks like it has a bit more of a futuristic feel to most.
Yeah, I mean, I still think it keeps the same classes and stuff that you have in dungeon crawler games anyway, but it's just
mages,
updated
warriors,
design.
Looks more like a Daft Punk video. Yeah.
Does it?
Yeah.
We then have Kingdom New Lands on the Xbox One. This looks... We watched multiple trailers, I read stuff. This game has the worst description in the world, because it tells you absolutely nothing about what the game actually is. You watch the trailer, and all you can work at is you're maybe a knight or something in a kingdom.
Yeah.
It's 2-bit, 8-bit, 2D side scroller.
There's 2 pixels.
Just one there. You're square. It's like Thomas was alone with the square.
Yeah.
It looks like you have some sort of kingdom, and maybe you have to protect it from people attacking. Maybe you gather stuff. Honestly, let's just call it a side-scrolling strategy game, because
tower defense, I think, as well.
there's probably tower defense elements in there.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a horrendous description. How do you expect people to buy your game when you won't even tell them what type of game it is? It's just absolute jargon.
It is a bit of a joke. Yes.
Talking of jokes, Transformers: Fall of Cybertron, PS4, Xbox One. This is a PS3, Xbox 360 game that's been ported onto the new consoles. Activision seem to be doing quite a lot of this lately. They gave us Marvel Ultimate Alliance the other week. They ported their prototype games. They're porting a lot of games over.
Do you think they're just going through everything and just be like, port?
What's a good way to make
have
a few bucks cheaply?
But I have no problem with porting games over. But don't charge full price for them. Not if you're not going to put the time into, upscale them and make them look nicer. Don't charge. And even if you do that, I still don't think it should be full price. But to charge £40 for this game is absolutely outrageous.
It is outrageous.
Because I'm pretty sure you could probably go and buy it on the 360 store, or maybe not now, but you could probably buy a physical second-hand copy for like a £5 or something.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So if you want to play this game, if you're a fan of Transformers, just go and pick up it'd probably be cheaper to pick up a physical copy on old gen somewhere. And then the final game this week is #Kill All Zombies on the Xbox One. We saw this, I can't remember exactly when, but a while back now on PS4. It's finally come to Microsoft console. Looks like a fun zombie horde kind of twin stick shooter. Reminds me a little bit of like Dead Nation, a little bit.
Yeah.
But a bit more simpler in its aesthetic. But I actually quite like the look of this. Looks fun.
Yeah, it's fun.
£9. Why not?
Yeah, and the good thing is, the price reflects the game, really, doesn't it? Because it's you don't want it to be a £40 game.
Yeah, I think it's one of those ones that you maybe pick up, enjoy it. I mean, it might be, for all we know, there might be like massive Diablo-like depth to the upgrading of your weapons. I didn't look into it that deeply, but it looks like a fun game. You can just pick up for half an hour, kill a few zombies, and then go back to exploring the universe.
Yeah.
Do I need to ask? What is your game of the week this week, Ash?
I don't think you need to ask what my game of the week is, but just in case viewers are unsure,
Bears Can't Drift.
It's No Man's Sky.
Yeah.
I'm going to have a lot of fun with this. Already have, but I'm going to have another few days of fun. I've got the whole week off this week, so
very nice.
That's a lot of Sky.
Dan?
It is still No Man's Sky for me, even though I say like I have some reservations. But it's such an expansive game, and I'm only a few hours in, so I'm not going to judge that based off a short amount of game time.
Yeah. I think that's just the one I have to recommend. In terms of bang for your buck, you're not going to get more value for this in this game. There's even if there are repetitive elements, there is so much to explore. Literally, like more than you could ever imagine being able to do.
Yeah.
There is to explore. Obviously, there is limitations because of the ability to upgrade your hyperdrive, and hopefully it does get a little bit easier at the moment, because I feel like there's going to be a lot of systems to... When there's so many systems to explore, I'm hopeful that it's not quite so restrictive in being able to get the resources to explore them.
Yeah.
Because right now, one of the resources you need, I haven't found it anywhere on any of the planets. I had to buy it through one of the Galactic, and it's not much. It's like 20,000 units, but it's just like it would be easier if I could. All the other stuff for your
I know
ship.
what you're talking
Yeah.
about as well. Yeah.
All the other stuff for your ship you can get very, very easily, and you never really run out. But like these hyperdrives. Now, I'm not just saying you should be able to get infinite, but I want it to be
easier to find the
Yeah.
resources you need.
Even a chance to be able to find it in the wild kind of
Yeah.
thing, rather than necessarily, oh look, here's a massive pile of it.
Yeah.
Or here's a planet and I can't find it anywhere on here, which is an example of that. Well,
And that's another thing I would actually want to have. I would like to know kind of what's going to be on the planet before I land on it, because I have to use my thrusters to land and then take off again.
yes.
And, like, I landed on a planet before which had no animal life, and then had like low of flora and like none of what's the other thing? There's like flowers and then there's like kind of rock stuff basically, isn't there? So like basically I landed on the planet and it was like, okay, so there's nothing here, so I take off again now. That's just a waste of resource.
Yeah.
I mean, I got to discover it, but yeah. So that's a long way of saying No Man's Sky.
No Man's Sky.
Alright, let's get out of here. Let's get back to exploring the universe, gents.
Yes.
Thank
Sounds
you,
good.
as always. Everyone out there, let us know down below what you think of No Man's Sky so far. Are you excited for the PS4 Neo? Will it be out this year? What else do we talk about? Oh yeah, Final Fantasy. Are you upset by the delay, or do you now accept that delays happen and we have plenty of games to play anyway? So yeah, thank you very much for watching, everyone, and we will see you all next time.